Welcome to Screencast, kind of funny's only entertainment-based podcast where we come together to talk about movies, TV shows, and streaming services. We are usually recorded live on twitch.tv/kindafunny. You can also catch us as a video on demand on YouTube and Rooster Teeth. If you want to catch us as an MP3 and only listen to our voices, you can do that too on all of your favorite MP3s or podcast streaming services. If we're missing on one, let Tim know, and he'll probably fix that eventually. You can help support us by going to patreon.com/kindafunny. There we go.
Also, make sure if you're tweeting, if you're on Twitter, tweet the toilet toads at Tim.
Oh, please keep doing that.
Just make sure you keep doing that. He doesn't like it.
And
actually, I think it's to the point now where it's not even a joke anymore, but we don't know. So we need to make sure we know where that line is.
You guys were
see what I'm saying?
giggling right before we started. I'm happy I was able to get to.
Did you guys do the Photoshop? I think it went up today, the day that we're recording this, of Toad from like the Mario universe in a toilet. Yep. It's the fucking funniest thing.
This is great. This is super great.
That's horrifying.
And we're definitely not known for, running jokes into the ground.
Oh, God, no. Oh, God, no. Like Greg quote tweeting the governor of Kansas, fuck Kansas.
Jesus
what he said.
Christ. I'm your host, Kevin Coelho. To my right, to my immediate right, Joey's left is one Nick _Scarpino.
So this is what Greg does. This is what it's like working
with a three-fingered review.
With a nightmare that is Greg Miller, right? Is that he goes, Nick, how far should I push this Kansas joke? And I was like, oh, dude, all the way. Why? What are you going to do? And he goes, no, I already did it. And I was like, no. You see, when you ask me, I encourage you, then you check in with me and you tell me how far it's going to go. And then I really know, like, oh, no, don't do that. Because I would have said, maybe don't piss off a governor of a state.
To your right, my left, one Joey, one of the movie bros, herself, Noelle.
Hello. I would also like to give context that it's like 4:30 right now, so we're
a little loopy.
It's a special week where we are doing our 12-hour stream, a little housekeeping, 12-hour stream on Friday. And
it should be today if you're listening to it on the day this comes out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right now. You could turn this off and then come back after the stream.
Sure, you could do that.
Don't do it. Watch both. Watch both at the same time.
Ooh.
It'll be like watching The Wizard of Oz and playing Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
And they all just
line up. Yeah,
exactly. Would you have like one headphone, one earbud?
No. Just mute both of them because we're prettier than we are funny.
Okay.
Sirens are our end.
I don't know.
This guy's riding this siren like it's a fucking rap music video.
He's having fun times out there. A little bit more housekeeping. You can go to kindafunny.com/store and check out some of our new merch. You can't get the P.S. I Love You sweater now, but it will be back soon.
It's sold out. You guys bought
sold
them
it
all.
out completely.
So many of them.
You can still, however, get the Super Porty shirt, which I love.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite shirts.
I thought you were wearing it for a second.
No, I know,
it's a white shirt, but
Porty,
so
star of this week's KFAF episode. He was the Puppy Bowl. He killed it.
He was indeed the Puppy Bowl.
He was the entirety of the Puppy Bowl. Please go watch that. It's
the
hilarious.
beanie. I love that beanie.
The beanie's
That's
super
a
good
warm
beanie.
and comfy.
Yeah.
Should have brought that beanie with me the other night. I went to a show rather, and as I got out of the show, I took off my warm jacket to put on my cute jacket because I was like, oh, wait, that's on stage. Not warm enough. Should have put the beanie on, just to be like, hey, I'm super hipster. And guess what? Put a beanie on, shaves off 5 years.
Does it?
Super young. It's super young. Yeah, exactly.
Do you wear beanies?
I do. Only when it's really cold. Don't you remember my famous mustard beanie from London? You can see that on my Instagram.
I hate that hasn't made it. I'm
going to bring it back.
Hey, Nick, I'm going to let you know, when you were posting those social pics, you look really good in that beanie. So I'm just saying.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
You should really make that a part of your visual.
It's just not
part of your aesthetic.
I want to. It's not quite cold enough to do it here, though. And then the problem with the beanie, though, is once you commit to the beanie,
you can't go back.
You guys have good hair. See, if I commit to the beanie, I take the beanie off, it's mashed down, then I can't perform with the beanie.
Yeah.
I have to keep the beanie on.
Every once in a while, you guys give me a little bit of shit for not doing my hair. And it's like, it's because I wear the headphones. And the headphones destroy the hair.
Yep.
So it's like, what's even the point?
I get that.
What's even the point?
Although, to be fair, not nearly as much shit as we give Tim when he doesn't do his hair. Which is,
true.
It's the best part of my month.
That's because you know he's hardly trying then. On here I have notes for the second Patreon stream, but that may have already happened. Thank you guys so much for the support. I can't believe we reached all our stretch goals.
We crushed
maybe.
$200,000. Who would have thought about that?
And then lastly, this show is brought to you by our sponsors, Upstart, Hims, and Indochino, but more about that later. Let's jump right into our big topic, which is what we've been watching.
Yay.
It's been a month and a half since we've talked about what we've been watching because we've focused so much on
The Witcher.
The Witcher. What the biggest movies were of 2019. Next week is going to be what
Oscar predictions.
Oscar predictions. That's right. Thank you very much.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
And then you guys did Watchmen.
Yeah.
You did a lot of things.
We sure did. Now I want to spend a little bit of time catching up on what you guys have been watching and what people out there should be watching. So,
I've got things.
how do we want to start, Nick? You want to throw one out
I'll kick
there?
this thing off right now.
Are we going to do like one show at a time and like round robin it?
Well,
Yeah,
sure.
so depending on whether we've watched it, we can all jump in, or if you're the only one that has watched it, like The Circle.
Pitch us on it.
You can pitch
and
us
we'll
on
say
it, yeah.
yay or nay. And
No,
if
you don't
both
get
of
to
us say
vote.
nay, you don't get to watch it anymore.
What if I've already finished?
Nope, you have to scrub it from your brain.
Oh, no.
I will ask the jury to disregard that statement.
I will spend another 12 hours watching it again. I don't
My
care.
God, Tim pitched me. Well, let's start talking about The Circle.
Okay.
Tim started talking to me about this, and I was like, "This sounds like a Tim Gettys ass show." If I've
Wait,
ever
wait,
heard
wait.
one
Before
before.
we dive too much deeper of like what is the show?
Yeah,
So
pitch
The
us on this
Circle
idea.
is a Netflix exclusive reality show.
God, I hate it already.
It
Yeah.
takes a bunch of individuals and puts them in their own apartments in one single building.
Okay.
And they're interacting with all the other people in their buildings, but they never actually, for the most part, meet face to face.
So they never physically see each other.
Correct. So some people are building, and so they build their online profile through The Circle, which is like the voice-activated platform where they can send messages back and forth, and then they can also set up a little profile that has like their name and a description and their age, and you can add pictures. So there's some people that are playing The Circle as themselves, and some people that are playing as other people and trying to catfish people, essentially.
Interesting.
So
So the idea is that there's like two of them, right? That are faking it, and you have
It
to kind of
depends
figure out
on-
who those people are.
yeah, at any given time, it could be like a different number of
Oh,
people
okay.
because for at least the first 3/4 of the show, when people get voted out, they bring new people in.
Oh man.
So it's just like a constant rotation.
Sorry, is this still an ongoing show right now?
The first season just finished like 2 weeks ago on Netflix.
Interesting.
Because they dropped like 4 episodes a week for 3 weeks.
My sister is really into the show
Yeah.
and was like trying to get me to watch, and she did a bad job explaining.
Oh,
so when
yeah.
we back.
Yeah, and then they do like a bunch of interactive things. So like you can one-on-one message people and go back and forth, or you can like group message. So like sometimes the dudes have a chat and the girls have a chat, or like different alliances. So in every episode, they rank everybody based on how much they like them, and then the top 2 people in the group get to be the influencers, and they get to block somebody out of the circle, and they get kicked out, and then they bring in somebody new. But the blocked person can go meet somebody in real life. So they can go meet somebody and be like, oh, I thought we had a connection, or why did you kick me out? Or, hey, I am walking into this and realizing you're not at all the person that you've been portraying yourself to be. And then the person that leaves sends a message to the group after they leave.
What is the tone of the show? Is it as stressful as I'm getting those
It's
vibes?
surprisingly like more like not wholesome, but like it's not as catty as you would think it would be, but it's endlessly entertaining because it's really strong personalities.
The thing about this is, as you pitch it, it went in my brain from being like, this is either the most stupidly superficial show I've ever seen in my life, or the most deeply meta thing that could be possibly like relevant to today's society.
It's deeply meta.
I don't think it is, but I'll give you
It
that.
does-
Tim loves it, so there's no way. it's
Tim's
deeply
also
meta.
only like 4 episodes in.
That's fair. That's fair.
Now that like it's finished, you've watched it all?
Yeah. I've watched it all and like some episodes multiple times because like I convinced my parents to start watching it. I convinced Tim and Gia to start watching it.
You're
So I've,
convincing me right now.
Popped in and out of different people.
Now,
it's-
by
sorry.
the end, were you like, oh, damn, this show's incredible?
It's really fun. I want them to do more. They, I guess, did a season in the UK and then they did another season somewhere else. I don't remember what, but we got one Tim Gettys.
There he
coming
is. He heard me talking trash. No, he's coming.
I heard
back
The
up.
Circle was brought up.
That's what
Yeah.
we started with that
You all
one.
about that?
I've
Or what's
given
up?
them-
Sorry
pitch
to
on
come
it.
into this late on this.
Go
Kev,
for
have
it.
you started watching this at all?
I haven't. My sister Carol recommended it to me, and just
Yeah.
on that, I was like, maybe not.
This one's a go. I'm gonna give
Yeah?
I'm gonna give it the go. I was pushing off because I only have so much room for bullshit in my life, and Bachelor fills that hole overflowingly. But Joey kept pushing it on me, and at some point I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. My favorite thing about it is it's not what the premise seems like. It's the whole thing is like, oh, catfish, whatever. I got turned off by it where I'm like, this sounds like a weird dating thing. It's not that at all. It is entirely just a game of using social media to manipulate yourself into being bigger than you are, but someone different than you are, even if it is who you are. It's fantastic. My favorite thing about the show is that it presents the rules, but you kind of learn the rules as the characters or the players learn the rules. And in the beginning, it's really frustrating. But after about 2 episodes, you're like, oh, I enjoy that they keep adding these elements, but as a viewer, I'm getting it at the same time that the characters are. So you kind of start to feel like what they're going through. But the best thing is they are fantastic. This cast of characters is just 10 out of 10 from top to bottom.
Does this show have a winner?
Yeah.
Yes. They win money.
Tim, do you think you could win?
Oh, man. I want nothing more than to be on this show.
We could probably get you on that show.
Dude.
I doubt it.
Dude, I'm going to be honest
Would you be
with
yourself, or
It
would
is,
you be
it is my
Don't
professional...
let him give away secrets.
My job is to be a personality, right? These people are personalities on a level I can just strive for. They're so good at just being who they are, who they aren't. And that's the beauty of this show.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
How confused, if I were to go on the show, how confused do you think I'd be the entire time?
You would totally get it.
You think so?
I don't think you'd make it that far.
Really?
But you would totally get it.
I can't lie to people, can I?
Yeah, you'd be really
This is
really
the problem.
bad.
This
No,
is
but
the
thing is,
problem.
you could be you.
Yeah.
You could be you.
true.
And that's what I think is brilliant about the show is like when you first hear about it, you think, oh, everybody's catfishing everybody. They're so good about the percentage of people pretending to be someone else versus the people that are like authentically who they are, that it gets real cool. I mean, they never see each other. It's like it's all through messaging, and like these people are just alone in rooms talking to each other, but they're just talking to themselves.
Yeah.
It's trippy. It
This
sounds weird as hell, but like
it sounds really
it sounds
interesting.
like a Black Mirror episode. I just want
no,
everyone
it
to
is
know.
totally. It's
This
that,
is
but in real
trippy.
life, and it's fascinating, man. It's fascinating to see them as they're doing it start to learn about themselves. Like it's the weird meta-ness of like, oh man, there's catfishes out there, but I'm gonna be me. But as they're going, they realize being you is the fakest of it all.
Yeah.
I don't believe with that.
Yeah. It's really, really fun.
That
and
sounds-
like it's a lot of different personalities, and I feel like the first episode I had like very strong opinions of like, oh, they bug me, I don't like them, all this stuff, and then you get to the end and you're like, oh man, like people turn on you pretty quick of like, oh, I love them. Like they get to be really endearing.
That's pretty wild.
I know.
Has that piqued your interest at
No,
all?
not at all.
Oh, see
Not
that
at
now.
all.
I
you
have
must
a feeling
totally
that
piqued my
Danielle
interest.
might like this.
She might, but getting her to watch it is
Totally.
very difficult. Like it took a while for me to get her to watch The Great British Bake Off, which we can all agree is the greatest reality show ever made.
Yeah. I had somebody over the weekend trying to get me to watch Below Deck. I was like, oh.
You know I've been on that.
I've heard good things about it.
You know I've been on that Below Deck train for a while.
Yeah.
How many episodes did it take you to get hooked?
I was in like halfway through the first episode of The Circle.
Okay.
Granted, I love reality TV show and this
Got it.
kind of like dynamic, and I think the social media aspect of it is super interesting. But I watched the whole thing last weekend in like 36 hours, and it's 12 episodes.
God.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
I think I'm down to give it a try. I think I'll give it 2 episodes. If
I
you
think
can
that's
get me
fair.
after episode 2, I think.
I feel like this is your kind of show, though.
I don't know, man.
I feel
like
the
Paula
idea.
would like this, though.
Yeah,
I think Paula would like it, too.
Yeah.
Nick
Okay.
Nag, what do you got for me?
The show I wanted to kick this off with was, I think, something we've all watched at this point called it's the HBO's The Outsider.
Oh, it's a great
boy.
one.
It's one of those shows that I saw the preview for while I was watching Watchmen. And HBO does such a good job with their original programming. They do such a good job with the timing of when they start teasing out the next show that's happening. And you're like, I don't know when exactly it is, but for me, it feels like it's always around episode 4 of the show you just fell in love with. They're like, oh, you like this? Guess what? It's ending soon. But guess what else? Something else awesome is happening. And they had me at Jason Bateman with this. I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. Is he the killer? I don't know.
When he does serious roles, I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I like him as a comedic actor too, but it's just something about him doing like a drama.
Yeah.
I hear
He's
he's
such
great
a
in the
good-
Ozarks.
Yeah, the
Just
Ozarks.
He is
that's
great.
right.
Singular Ozark.
I want to give a shout out to the casting of this is amazing. I believe it's Ben Mendelsohn is the other lead in it.
Yes.
He plays the lead detective. He as like the protagonist is always fascinating because he's
And
a
also,
phenomenal
just
actor.
let me put one note here. Let's try to keep everything spoiler free.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
yeah. And then of course, a couple episodes in, they introduced another character who is I just remembered her name and I can't remember her name.
Cynthia Erivo.
Thank you, Cynthia Erivo.
So good.
She's
Awesome. They're on episode 4 right now, I
They are, I
think.
believe episode 4 was this week. I
Yeah.
have to go
I've only
watch it
watched
tonight.
I watched through episode 3 last night.
good.
It is, if I'm not mistaken, it's based on a Stephen King story.
Yes,
right?
it is. Called The
And
Outsider.
and man, let me tell you, it is. You start watching this, and you're like, this kind of seems pretty cut and dry. And then you're like, oh, wait, this is Stephen King. And that's all I'll say about it.
There's layers.
There's a lot of layers to this.
I had to stop myself for the first 2 episodes of like trying to look up the Wikipedia and just finding out what was happening.
I wanted to
because like
so
I want
badly.
to so bad, and it's so accessible.
Can't do it.
But I'm like,
Totally.
Don't do it.
I really feel like it's going to be worth the wait. The acting throughout is so good, and the way that like they put out the mystery there is like, because for a little bit you're like, oh, it seems like things are pretty
cut and dry.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, they're not. Now we're getting like in episode 4, or without any spoilers, we're getting to the point where like something weird is happening, and I can't wait to find out more.
They
Yeah.
do. I want to give a quick shout out to how they shoot the show as well, which I think is a very, I don't want to say unique because people have done this before, but the style, they commit so well to it. You just feel like you're spying on these people. You feel like a fly on the wall. You feel like you're just removed from them, like you have this weird secret you're keeping the entire time. A lot of the blocking is played out in the wide shots, specifically like some of the stuff. And it's one of those shows that HBO's been on this tear lately, specifically with Watchmen and this, where they really are not. They're expecting the audience to really be smart and pay attention to what's going on, and they're not dumbing this shit down
God
for you
bless
at
them.
all, and I love
I
it.
feel like that's what Watchmen did so good.
Yeah, was it true that Watchmen? That's it.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the director
Lindelof doesn't wanna do it
Yeah, he's
anymore.
like, I'm done. And HBO had said previously that if he doesn't want to do it anymore, they don't want to do it anymore.
That may have made Watchmen, in my book, top 5 all time
Shows
that's
ever.
ever
Yeah.
been
I
made.
agree. Now that being said, if in 10 years he's like, hey, I've been thinking about this
We'll
a
do
lot.
another story,
I have another story. I'm 1,000% in.
as
Especially
well.
like 10 years later, because he would be stewing on like
He's
what is
crafting
important.
something
Yeah,
at that
exactly,
point, yeah.
exactly.
And I love it. Take your time with that. But yeah, I can't. HBO. If you don't have HBO, just get it because there's so much great content on that.
I know. I was about to cancel my HBO because I got it for Watchmen, and now you guys are selling me on this fucking
It's
outside.
fun. You gotta
give it a
I
shot.
I
Yeah.
did see the previews when I was watching Watchmen. I was like, oh, I like Jason Bateman. Now maybe I
wild.
can't. Do we know how many episodes it
10.
is? For the,
10.
it's 10.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're
So they're on 4.
4.
Yeah.
Fuck. So now I got to get
and-
HBO for another month. Shit.
So what it reminded me of, which actually put me off because I didn't care for the series, was The Killing, which was on AMC.
Oh,
Remember
yeah,
that? There
yeah,
was
yeah.
a
No, I
AMC
didn't
tried
watch
for
it.
a long time after it was try to have
Mad Men?
something after Mad
It
Men
was-
and Breaking Bad. They
It
were
was
like,
Breaking Bad because
Yeah.
Aaron Paul was in The Killing, was he not?
Not that I remember.
No.
It was the guy from RoboCop and
He might
the
have been
new
like a
RoboCop.
special guest because I remember when Breaking Bad was ending, they were really trying to sell the show of like, hey, if you like Aaron Paul, he's going to be in this a little bit. It
Yeah.
might be a different show that I'm.
But it
thinking
had
of,
that
but
vibe, that really eerie mystery vibe of what's
Yeah.
going on. But what
Yeah.
The Killing did that I didn't like was it drew out every character development so much it gave
Mm.
you way too much. This Outsider's just like, you are not going to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And it's going to scare the shit out of you, and it's going to be awesome.
It gives me like True Detective season 1.
Oh
vibes,
my God, yes.
For
Oh,
sure. And that's
yeah.
why I'm like, oh.
That's like the highest mark you could ever
Right?
give a show.
Exactly.
Is True Detective season 1. Although I will say now, Watchmen season 1, and only I guess Watchmen on HBO is probably the highest mark I could give a story now.
Interesting.
Comparing it to that.
Yeah. I was texting Andy about The Outsider last night because I was like, does this get less stressful? Because I'm really stressed. And he's like, not really. He's like, I want to know. He was kind of on the same train of like, I want to know more about this. He's like, I guess his sister-in-law read the book and got like so freaked out by it that like she had to like put it outside or
Yep.
like
That
could only
makes
read
sense.
it with
Stick
the
it in
lights
the fridge,
on.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man. I can't. It is that balance of like, do I want to know everything now or do I want to see it play out?
I think it's better to let it play out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, for mine, I watched Killer Inside: The Mind of Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, this is on my list.
Whoa, guys!
Holy shit.
Whoa!
So I don't. Well, yeah, I guess you're not spoiling anything.
Well,
I also
no,
don't care
but like,
about
here's the
spoilers.
thing. Yeah, we're trying not to spoil stuff, but this is one of those things that, like, when it was happening in real life, I feel like everyone was like, "Huh, that's weird."
Yeah.
Like, this is a whole bunch of weird stuff that's
and
happening.
I feel like I was young enough for like I really don't know that story at all. So like I don't want to know anything because like it seems so fascinating to learn about like what happened.
a lot more happens than I realized.
That's what
And-
everyone keeps saying, and
and
that's
it's
why
one of
I'm
those
so
things
intrigued.
When you're like, "Oh, I vaguely remember hearing about this other thing," didn't realize it was
Connected?
Yeah. And it just it's a show that goes, it's I believe 3 episodes on Netflix.
Something like that, yeah.
An hour each. They
That's
go
not bad.
by so fast, and it takes the story in a really interesting. By the end, it's like, huh, I did not think you guys would have this sort of messaging at the end of this video. But like I really enjoyed it.
I've heard you
Messed
talk
up.
about it. I've
Messed
heard
up.
Greg Miller talk about it. I've heard Andy talk about it. Have you watched it yet?
Yeah, me and Dee sat down and watched it, I think,
Ooh.
last weekend, and marathon the whole thing. It's a very well crafted, very well put together documentary. They had a lot of access, which kind of speaks to the mindset of Aaron Hernandez and so a lot of this stuff was happening.
It is interesting. There are there's audio clips of the conversations he was having with people in jail.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Like, I wonder if anyone knew that they.
Oh yeah, those are
They
all
know that
recorded.
they're
No,
getting
I know that
recorded,
they're
yeah.
recorded, but like the fact that it was somehow sold to Netflix.
I don't know how they got that access
Yeah,
because you have to imagine that's a legal matter.
Yeah.
Of saying like this is
I
don't
wonder
know.
if like afterwards there was any like dealings with the family that left alive. Gave
Like any
potential.
Potentially, I don't know.
repercussion.
Yeah.
I feel like having really knowing nothing about Aaron Hernandez other than people occasionally making like an off-color remark, a joke at his expense. I had no idea what the story was, and so going into it and having the layers peeled back of who he was, how he had been treated, who he was with, all these things, I was like, holy shit! The old adage that truth is stranger than fiction absolutely holds up in this because this is some shit on like OJ level. Like this reminds me a lot of that case, and like you feel simultaneously like mad and sad for him.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very crazy.
Absolutely.
And my favorite part of it though is when he goes into the prosecuting attorney was like, we knew we had a problem on our hands when he walked in and one of the female jurors was like, oh my God, he's gorgeous. Because he was like 6'4", just amazing looking.
Football player,
yeah. But it was just interesting. He was just an interesting, really fucked up guy.
It's hard because I don't want to say anymore because it is one of those things that like the less you know, the more interesting this whole thing is.
Yeah, what I like about it is they dive into sort of the causality of what was happening or the reasons why he was doing what he was doing, and I think that to me is where the interest lies because a lot of I don't think it's a spoiler to say, but like obviously he was a football player, he had suffered abuse. There's a lot that goes along with both of those things, and I think they do a really good job of not necessarily say making excuses for what he was accused of doing, but for saying like this is stuff that he has dealt with and this is potentially how it manifested itself. So people need to be educated a little bit more about this, and if I'm not, so I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's very good. Very well done.
Joey, you want to throw another one at me?
I do want to throw another one at you. Let's go with Don't Fuck with Cats.
Oh my God, what is this? So this is just a group of people on the internet that like fucked a guy or some guy like fucking killed a cat or something and they just hunted his ass down?
That's like the premise of like top level premise
Yeah.
is like this random internet person was posting like animal abuse videos and then it got into like the hands of like kind of like the Reddit sleuths. These people were on Facebook of like trying to pick things apart, and then like kind of how both things escalate.
Because they like
So
found the guy
Reddit
by his
detectives,
like
man.
outlet. They were like, okay, he's got to be in this area of like the world.
Yeah,
or something
and
like
like
that.
so
listening to the
smart
sound
and-
to see like, oh, is that English? What language is that? But like all that kind of stuff.
It's the power of fucking the masses, man.
Yeah. And like that's honestly the most interesting part is like seeing the thought process behind how they break all that stuff down where it's like, this is wild. And like the escalation kind of all of it and even like his background and how he kind of like what his presence was on the internet and stuff like that.
I want to watch.
Is that
Super,
also
super
3
interesting.
episodes?
3 episodes. It's like they're an hour-ish,
Okay.
maybe a little bit more than that.
How fucked up is it?
So in the first episode, they show some clips of like the videos that he's
Just
posting.
bites the head off a cat.
I honestly don't even know what the videos are because I got freaked out that I fast forwarded through anything that had like
Proud
that
of you.
kind of
That's the right way to
footage.
do it.
Because I was like, I can't do this.
That's
So
what
like,
I think I'm gonna have to do.
but it's probably 3 segments in that video. I don't know what they show, so I can't tell you like how bad it is or if it's not bad. But I think once you get past that first episode, everything else is fine.
Yeah. Paula is an animal lover, and I don't think we could watch that show. I'll have to watch it in secret, and I feel like that
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I watched this while I was home for Christmas, and I purposely watched it at night after my parents had gone to bed because I knew that my mom would like freak out and not be okay with that.
What's interesting about that is it really shows the true power of the internet when they want to do something good.
Yeah.
And normally, like you don't. When I saw the trailer for it, I was like, huh. This is what people can accomplish when they band together and try to actually like do good in the world, as opposed to like, oh, let's band together and like hack people's accounts and shit, and, like fuck people over or like cause them a tremendous amount of mental anguish.
But part of the thing too is like, because he knew that this group of people was doing this and like kind of tracking him and stuff like that, is it kind of like a war of escalation of like,
Well, I'll tell you one thing right
You
now.
know?
If it's you versus the world's gonna win.
yeah,
every
but it
single
is
time.
like a little bit of the tease and the chase of like,
Sure.
oh, can they actually do it?
I wonder
and,
if does it give him like some sort of like validation
Totally.
or like inspiration? That's terrible.
That's
yeah, so like
terrible,
that's
yeah.
a little bit of part of that it explores as well.
Little Sherlock Holmes, Moriarty kind of cat and mouse play.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
It's a little bit. It's crazy. It's a really well done documentary. I think it's super interesting.
I almost said Kathy Moriarty, who was an actress because I just watched Soap and she's in that. Great movie, by the way.
You know,
Soap.
I was gonna go to you next, but like it's a good jumping off point.
Go for it.
I'm gonna talk about Dracula.
Oh, is it good?
Yeah.
I queued that up
Where
and I was
is
like,
it?
I can't
Because
pull
that was
this.
Sherlock Holmes that led to me thinking of Dracula.
Yeah, that works. Wait, what platform is this on?
Netflix.
So this is on
Netflix?
Netflix. It was originally aired at
BBC?
which I have BBC America, wasn't aired there. And it was one of those things, I think it was like 3 days later. So it aired, I could be wrong about the dates, but I believe it aired like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then
Oh.
on Friday, it went into Netflix. And I wasn't even thinking about the show till Gary was like, tweeting about being pissed that he couldn't watch it. And I was like, I'm going to look into it. And then I watched the trailers and I was like, this looks like something I'd really enjoy.
Is it just like a standard Dracula story? Or
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah. But it's BBC, so it's 3 episodes that are
Yeah.
like an hour and a half each.
Sherlock-y
And
kind of style.
Does
Yeah.
it have that Sherlock production where like you like?
I
even
never
though-
watched Sherlock.
Really?
Yeah.
Kev,
Yeah?
you got yes.
Sherlock's great. With Benedict Cumberbatch?
yeah.
The
Great.
first 2 seasons, absolutely.
think of-
Season 3,
I always
season
get that
4 are
mixed
like
up.
meh, but the first 2 seasons are some of my favorite TV ever.
Yeah, the
So,
problem
like,
is with season 3 and 4, Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch got
They're too busy.
huge.
Yeah, they got too
and
busy.
they were like, oh, these guys do not need this show anymore. It's not to
Yeah.
say they didn't do a good job, but there was a certain hunger and like energy they put into the first 2 seasons where you were like,
Yeah.
you're like Martin Freeman,
They're
were
all
like,
in.
you were really
It
hoping
kept-
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy would work for you.
they're
It didn't,
all
so
like
you're hungry.
they're just like 3 episodes long each
Yeah.
season, and they're like an hour
But
and a
they're
half.
an hour and a half. Yeah.
But
They're
like,
also wonderfully
dude.
directed.
The last episode of the 2nd season is one of my favorite episodes of TV of all time. Like you got to check it out, especially if you liked Dracula, like the Sherlock.
Let me
Okay,
keep going.
give
for
me
a
your
second,
thoughts.
yeah.
Give me your thoughts.
Episode 1 of Dracula is awesome.
Is this the one? This is the one that has the cool steak poster thing, right?
Yes.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is so good, and it like builds the story in such a cool mystery way where you're trying to figure out what's happening, and you're getting little clips, like little bits of stuff. Then episode 2 is even better, where now it's like the Dracula's on a journey, and like it's a boat. And how does he stay alive
love
for
it.
a certain amount of time? And like, why is he doing this? How is the character from the first episode in episode 2? What's going on? And it's all very, very good.
I'm glad you watched this.
Until
Oh no.
Oh no.
you get to episode 3,
Oh no.
where it just falls apart, in my opinion.
No shit.
Completely.
Oh, I'm not watching it then.
Is it upsetting?
It's upsetting because like the premise of episode 3 is awesome, where you're
Was
just
he
like,
getting a day job at a Starbucks? What happened?
I mean, like, I know I said no spoilers, but like, I feel like if anything, this will make you want to watch it more. Episode 1 is like him getting
Hunted, right?
going to like planning his trip to London.
Okay.
Because he has a house in London that is like that's part of the
Lucky
like stories.
him. It's a goal of mine.
So it's buying the property and like talking with this lawyer that's come to get there, but he's also learning how to be like live in London. The second episode's about him taking a boat to this house. And the third episode, essentially the second episode, he kind of gets beaten and the boat sinks. And the third episode is him like waking up and realizing, oh shit, it's been 150 years. It's current time now. And it's like, what is
That's
happening?
weird.
And
That's
you're like,
cool
oh,
as
that's
fuck.
awesome.
That's
But they
fucking
take the
dope.
story in a way that I did not like.
Okay, Kev.
I-
Don't let that discourage you from Sherlock really
Okay.
quick. First episode, great. Second episode is cool. The end of first season is one of the most like holy shit get hype.
Yeah?
Fucking like even if you know Sherlock a little bit of like the major like tropes from that series, the way the first season ends is the coolest fucking way they could end that season. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
You're winning me over. I've wanted to watch
So
it for a while.
don't let
No.
Dracula, because it's part of BBC, discourage you.
That being said, season 1 or episode 1 and 2 are so good. I still kind of recommend it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have they committed to doing more, or is it like a one and done story?
I don't know. It seems like it's a one and done story, but I haven't looked into it enough. Yeah. But yeah, really interesting.
Okay.
Really interesting.
All right.
I'm
I
intrigued
wanna watch it.
on. I know.
I have a feeling you might actually like
I
how
love
it ends.
vampire stuff.
No, but I'm saying I have a feeling you might like how it ends.
Cool.
But
I'm into it. I'm gonna watch it.
give episode 1 a shot.
on my queue,
'cause It's
and I was-
interesting. It's on Netflix, so now it's easily accessible to
Yeah.
all.
I love
I
it.
feel like
yeah.
I
that's
love
the
it.
biggest
Yeah,
barrier
yeah,
with
yeah.
a lot of BBC stuff is like how to watch it and when and where you can get it.
Indeed.
Nicholas.
Oh, I got a
What do you
good
got
one.
for me?
Ooh.
This staying in sort of the shows that just recently came out. Watched episode 1 of Star Trek Picard.
Oh man, I still haven't watched.
I love it.
Really?
I love
Really?
everything they're doing with these with the
What
new Star Trek
vibes?
shows.
It's been a divisive.
Are we getting
Definitely
it's been very
Discovery vibes.
divisive.
Okay.
Definitely, it's shot like Discovery. It's beautifully shot.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like episodes.
Discovery season 2.
Just Discovery, the look, the production value
Yeah.
is what I want.
But
But it doesn't feel. It's not Discovery because Discovery is a little more actiony.
Yeah.
This feels like kind of what you would have assumed the Next Generation movies would have been if they had modern day technology that was cheaper. Because like those movies always felt so weird and almost anachronistic. Like they were longer episodes of the shows, but then moments are like, oh, this looks like a movie. And I'm
Remember
like, oh, no,
when-
you're out on the ship, the whole of the ship. This looks terrible. This
Remember
looks-
when Tom Hardy was a clone of Picard?
And
That was
Nemesis?
fucking weird.
Was that Nemesis?
Yeah,
that
was
was
Nemesis, yeah.
So like those movies kind of always were what they were, but
Yeah.
for me the strength of the Picard of the character in general was the original or the Next Generation, which I love. I think I've watched all those seasons at one point twice now. I just recently, like last year, I think I finished them again. And the way that show wraps up, now granted the movies are what they are, but the way that the show wraps up is so wonderful and so understated and just so tastefully like a nice bon voyage to the characters. And so to come back 20 years later and pick up with Picard as he's sort of been, where we find him is very interesting because he's no longer with Starfleet. He's sort of left under not amicable terms, and you don't know.
Crazy.
You don't necessarily know why, and a lot of that plays into the current political state of where Starfleet's at and how Starfleet has changed, and it's not necessarily what the Starfleet that we used to know, which was like this really altruistic organization that is out there trying to literally like expand, for all intents and purposes, this utopian style of life to people. Now it's become a little more politicized, and we pick that up with a mystery that's happening with him and this younger character. The actress's name I can't remember, but she plays Dar. I want to say her name, or Darsh.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. And there's a lot of backstory, a lot of mystery that's happening. Then, of course, it's setting Picard on an adventure back out in space again. And I'm all in. I
can't wait.
Can you comment on like, because like Joey and I, like we've been on the track of this show of like it's been very divisive. Can you comment on like why some people might not like it as much?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot. I mean, I read, I read one headline that said to slowly go where Picard's already been before, or something like that. And I just fundamentally disagree with this. I think a lot, the small criticisms that I have seen, and I haven't read a lot of reviews, but I watched a couple of videos on this, and I think people are. I'm trying to find her name.
Is it Isa?
Yes, that's her name. Isa
Dash.
Briones, who plays Dash. She's awesome. And they introduced a lot of elements in this first one. The thing I think people have, I think people just fundamentally want to get different stuff out of Star Trek. I think you have I think you have 3 different camps. You've got the camp of people who are like, Star Trek to me needs to be a slow, more cerebral, moralistic tales that are backed by science, like the Next Generation, like Voyager. You have that camp, right? Then you've got the camp of people who are like, I never watched any of those fucking shows. I watched the 2009 J.J. Abrams Star Trek, and let's motherfucking go. Like Chris Hemsworth as his dad, let's go. That first scene, I'm crying right now
scene.
thinking about it. Right?
so good.
That's kind of the Discovery crowd, and then you've got people like me who love both. And I think that for me, Picard feels like it is a nice touchstone and a nice homage to the original, to the Next Generation, while bringing it a little bit into more modern times. It looks phenomenal. The effects are great, and we're going to get some action out of it. And yeah, it's not going to be. I honestly think that the people, like the showrunners of the previous shows, would have made this show if they had the technology and the budget. But what a lot of people don't understand is that the original series and Next Generation, and I think Voyager, shoestring budgets for these shows. It wasn't like these were like massive money makers for the studios. Like there's a great documentary called Panic on the Bridge or something like that. What's it called?
I think
Trouble on the
it's-
Bridge or something like that. Where basically
Yeah.
it's really deep interviews with Patrick Stewart and like pretty much the entire cast of how they were like, we're like this close from getting canceled every fucking episode.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about
Yeah.
that, right? But like they were like they had scuffles with Gene Roddenberry, and he was going kind of crazy, and he was pissing the studio off,
It's,
and they were like
Chaos on the Bridge.
Chaos on the Bridge.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
God,
I was thinking
it's a
Panic
solid
at the Disco.
name.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that obviously anything that revolves around space and action these days is going to be very, very polarizing. But for me, I'm just like, I think there's enough new in here and enough old in here for me to be really, really happy with it. And I'm really interested to see where it's going. And obviously, it is tugging on my heartstrings and my nostalgia in the best, most obvious way. And you know what? I had a knock at the door. I'm just going to let it in. I don't care.
So if you love Jean-Luc Picard, you'll love the show.
I think so. I mean, you
We're
know what?
so far only 2 episodes in.
Just one so
Oh,
far.
really?
I don't
Wow.
think the second one's even. I think maybe the second one dropped today or yesterday. I don't know. But here's the thing. He's old. He is. He's
Yeah.
80 years old. But I don't think. I mean, maybe he's lost a bit of a step, but they embrace that, right? That's the character now. It's not the Jean-Luc Picard that started where he was like late 30s and you're like, oh, he looks old as shit, but he's actually not.
Yeah.
He's 80, and this is probably, kind of almost a swan song or a farewell to Patrick Stewart in general in his career.
Was he 80 or was he more like almost 50?
No, now he's 80.
No,
is
no,
what
I'm saying. Oh, I'm sorry. Was he 30? It doesn't matter.
Oh, I mean, he's
Yeah,
80
yeah,
now, so that
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
what,
yeah.
30 years ago? So maybe he was like 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Fair.
Nah.
But he was
But
all,
he
yeah,
did
if you
move.
go
He
back
moved.
and
He
if you go
moved.
back and
Yeah.
look at him when he was in the
No,
first season, he actually looks so young
Yep.
compared to
It's
where he's at
crazy.
right
Yeah,
now.
oh,
Which
yeah.
is weird because he's one of those people that kind of has always just seemed old.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, it's,
Yeah.
it's the balding. That's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
forhims.com coming up later. But I like it a lot. I mean, I understand why people have criticisms of it, but I just think that like Star Trek is one of the reasons I love Star Trek is that it can be different things, and there's such a history and so many different series that you can go back and watch and find something for yourself. And I was one of those people, obviously outspokenly, I loved season 1 and 2 of Discovery. Yes, it is insane action and lasers and lights and ships and all
All
that stuff.
about it.
But I'm all about that.
Yeah.
This seems a little bit more refined and a little bit more like
Also all about that.
Yeah, it's a little bit more reliant on nostalgia, and honestly, you kind of do have to know what happened in the Next Generation to get a lot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're going to move after this first couple episodes. They're going to move it forward in a new direction. I think it's really cool.
The question I want to get out of you is like from a family who has a little plaque of Jean-Luc Picard, and below his picture at my family house says, "What would Jean-Luc Picard do?"
Mm-hmm.
As a family who came from that, would I enjoy the show?
Can I spoil one small element that's like right at the beginning of the first episode?
Sure.
His dog's name is Number One.
God.
Fuck yeah! I'm fucking in, dude. Let's
Which a lot of people were like, that's so on the nose. I'm like, fuck
No,
you,
that's
you're
awesome.
heartless bastards.
I'm all about
I'm
that.
in.
He's got
dude.
this beautiful, I don't know what breed of dog it is. It kind of looks like
It's a pit bull, I think.
Is it a pit bull?
Yeah.
There was
But-
like something where like Patrick Stewart specifically wanted a pit bull to like try and rehabilitate their.
the image of the pit
Yeah.
bulls. I think it's a beautiful black pit bull, and he calls it Number One. I'm like, fuck you all.
That's
I'm
so-
in.
so
I'm
good.
in. And again, there's all those little touches. Obviously, like you've seen Brett Spiner's returning. You've
Right,
seen that.
right,
What's his name? Will Riker. Who's the what's that actor's name? Well, Will Riker's
Will
coming
Riker
back.
works, yeah.
Deanna Troy's coming back. You're getting Jerry Hall back, which is awesome because we didn't actually. I don't remember her. She was on Voyager, so like I don't know if she ever actually interacted with the Next Generation cast unless it was like Voyager, Deep Space Nine. So it's just cool to see like this world they've built and kind of dipping a toe back into it. I love it, and it's more Star Trek, and it's Star Trek done where they're actually trying to make a good show, and I can't ask for anything more than that. You know, I gotta remember what's his name? He probably directed it too because he used to direct a lot of them. I'll think of it.
I'll move on. Joey, give me another one.
What do I want to talk about? Let's see. I'm going to talk about You Season 2.
Yeah?
Yeah. So
How was it? Because
You-
I did not like you
Jonathan
season 1.
Frakes, that's his name.
you
sorry.
didn't like it. Oh, that's right. You Season 2. So this is You Season 1 started on Lifetime, I believe. Then got
Did it?
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
Lifetime
wow.
original series. Then Netflix picked it up, and
It
then
feels
it
like a
found.
li-
I know, right? Then huge resurgence when things get, the perfect titles get put on
Mm-hmm.
Netflix at the right time, finds a new audience. So You Season 2, you've got the main character from season 1. You're like, I don't know how this is gonna end. This is all this stuff. So it's just continuation of his story. He, spoilers for literally the first 10 minutes of the episode, he's moved to LA, assumed a new identity, and you're like, how is he gonna deal with everything that happened last season? What's he gonna do in LA? You didn't like season 1, huh?
It's just one of those things where it's like,
Didn't get
this
you.
is so like unrealistic of like consequences. I hope.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
and it's like he's not supposed to be a likable character.
Absolutely not. One of the things that I do enjoy is Paula, like, every once in a while, will be like, hey, there's, like, will read me his tweets that
Yeah.
people, like, tweet at him,
It's
being
perfect,
like,
pen
oh my God,
badger.
you could stalk me. It's like, dude, he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Like, you understand? Like, he
has no
yeah.
patience for the like hot serial killer movement. He's like,
No,
no,
he's super
This guy's crazy.
against it in
You
the
shouldn't
best
like
way.
it. You're a bad person. For
Yeah.
I
that.
don't think I've even heard of this.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
it's a guilty
You?
pleasure one. It's
Like,
called You.
YOU?
it's about a guy who gets obsessed over a girl and tries to, like, embed himself in her life.
Oh, I have
and
seen a
it's
preview for that. Okay.
real creepy.
I feel like there was a movie about that with Aubrey Plaza. It was a similar concept, right?
That
Yes.
was Ingrid Goes
Yeah.
West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never saw that.
That has. Well, I guess they both have like a social media slant, but that one
Ingrid
even
Goes
more
West,
so.
I feel like, gives me anxiety on, like,
It's,
oh, man.
because it's very close to like lifestyles that we live. Almost,
right?
Not one to one, but very similar and very.
It's the Black
specific.
Mirror thing where it's like
Yeah.
it's only a few steps away from like things that you could realistically see happening.
I think it's still on Hulu, Nick.
Okay.
I recommend checking it out because it's really
With
good.
You
That was
s-
Ingrid Goes West, right?
Yeah.
With You season 2, how, like, as a whole, would you recommend, like, a season 2 versus
If you
season
like
1?
season 1, I think you're gonna like season 2. It was funny because I was texting with Belinda and with Blessing about You season 2, and we were like in a group chat, and Blessing was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that episode," and Belinda was like, "No spoilers, no spoilers." And I was like, from Blessing's statement, I could not tell you what episode he's talking about because every one of them have one of those like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that" moments. And for the most part, they like like they're not totally wild and out there. Like they track pretty well with a storyline, in my opinion.
I think that those kinds of stories where people are trying to embed themselves in other people's lives and
It's
they're
super
like
creepy.
sociopaths and like
so
don't deal with that.
creepy.
So creepy.
It's so
Yeah.
creepy.
Have you guys seen the preview for The Invisible Man?
Tim and I talked
Oh
about
my
this.
God.
It looks so good.
That looks
Fuck.
like, are you guys serious?
I'm like, I'm not watching
so
this.
in. I feel like that looks
No.
like crap.
no, I think it looks
looks
so
terrifying.
good.
I don't
Yeah.
want to watch it.
I
really
Tim and I
scary.
are so in.
And I've said this before, but, like, I wish that it was a little bit more ambiguous whether she was imagining it or he's actually
Yeah.
invisible, because I feel like that, like, thread being that, like,
That's a really hard.
but in the
premise to
trailer we
actually
see a
do
dude
well.
get beaten up by no one.
Here's why they did that though, because I think she did. Maybe it wasn't her. There was an actress. It was either Elizabeth Moss or someone that kind of tracks like Elizabeth Moss that did a story exactly like that, where she goes to an insane asylum and there's a hunter that's trying to kill her.
Oh, is
And
this
she
the one
keeps
that's
seeing
all
him, but
filmed
doesn't
on
know.
an iPhone?
Yeah, but she doesn't know if like.
I think it's a Soderbergh movie.
Was it a Soderbergh movie?
I
Yeah, I
think
feel
that's
like it was
what it
Elizabeth
is.
Moss. I could be wrong, but that
I
I
don't think
feel
it's
like if I watch this, I'm like, I'm getting that kind of vibe, and I want to know if this thing's real. And then, of course, with the success of Hollow Man back in the day,
Great movie.
how
Kevin-
can
was
you
it
not,
Kevin Bacon?
Kevin
Movie,
Bacon?
yeah.
How can you not want to have those vibes and rehash those things?
All right, I'm gonna give you guys another one. I started watching The New Pope.
It's called Unsane, by the way.
Insane.
Unsane,
Who was
yeah.
the actor?
That was
Claire Foy.
It was Claire Foy. I
that
apologize.
movie
It wasn't
was
Elizabeth
so
Moss.
frustrating.
I never watched
Unsane.
it.
Unsane.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's
Well,
very
That's a
frustrating.
hard pass then.
What's on
Sorry,
your
so
list?
the new Pope.
Oh.
I raved so much about the young Pope, and then started watching episode 1 of the new Pope, and I was like,
Is this so? Quick question, because I remember you trying to sell me on the original series.
Yeah.
Is this a sequel to that series?
it is indeed a sequel.
Too many
because
Popes.
it's got what's his face?
Jude Law.
Yeah, Jude Law. So,
it is.
okay.
It's a direct sequel. It just has
Okay.
a totally different name.
Because
And
that
when
was
you
the old
search-
Pope, right?
No, that was
First
the
season?
young
The
Pope.
young
Young
Pope.
Pope.
Yeah,
and
it's
this-
literally the opposite. Yeah.
And then Two Popes, movie unrelated.
And I'll talk
And
about
that
that
was very
immediately after.
confusing. That was
I
very
will
confusing.
talk about that immediately after this. But yeah, the new Pope. I watched episode 1 and I was like, something seems wrong here. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Oh, I missed the last 2 episodes of the young Pope.
been there.
And then I rewatched the young Pope, and it's like, there is something about the way that it's shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want you to watch just an episode so you can tell me I'm not crazy. It's beautiful. I don't know what they're doing with the focus.
Where
but
is this streaming?
This is on HBO as well.
Okay.
Everything is like glowy, and it just gives you this like angelic aura to everything that happens, and like the story is so fucked up that it's like, it's awesome. And
What's
season
the
2,
top level premise?
the top level premise is
Have you heard of the Catholic Church?
the top level premise is well. Let me just talk about young Pope. Young
Okay.
Pope is what's Jude Law gets voted in as Pope, and he's like 45, 50. So like there's never been a Pope that young, and he is a radical. and it just follows the story of the Vatican trying to like control him trying to control everything, and it's wild. Now at the end, like, and I know spoilers, but like,
how many seasons is the young pope?
it's just one season.
It's just one season. Wow.
The new pope is season 2.
Oh,
And I think right now there's 3
okay.
episodes out, and I've only seen 2, so I'm
By
behind
the
one.
title, you can assume that there's some things that happen at the end.
Well, I mean, at the end, he kind of has a heart attack, or like there's some mystery. Like he goes down.
We got a pope down.
He's
And they
not
gotta get a
dead.
new pope.
He's not dead. And there's all these trailers that are like, oh, this is gonna be the new pope, and it's what's the actor?
John Malkovich.
John Malkovich.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. But then
That makes me
episode
infinitely more excited.
episode 1 starts, and they like that's not what's happening with like the start of the season, and it's
Interesting.
radically different. And you're like, wait a minute, all the ads have been different, and it's just
That's interesting.
that was a lot of fun, and it's really cool. We are gonna get John Malkovich as the Pope, but like the first episode was an episode that I was like, wait a minute, none of it. What's going on?
Is it all out now, or is it a week by week release?
It's week by
still?
week.
Okay.
It's HBO, so yeah, week
Beautiful.
by week. But yeah, I love that show so much. Yeah.
I've seen it pop up since I've been on HBO so much lately.
And while we're talking about popes, I also watched The Two Popes.
That was the Anthony Hopkins. Who's the other actor? Jonathan
Oh,
Pryce?
no.
No.
He
No,
looks-
the director is somebody that's foreign. I want to say.
Who are the 2 popes, though? I know one of them is Anthony Hopkins, right?
Yeah. Well, I
Who's
mean,
the other pope?
he looks so
It's
much like the actual
Fernando
Pope.
Morales
I didn't know
is
that.
the Two Popes director.
Wait, the director, but
I'm talking about the actor. Yeah, it's Jonathan. It's not Jonathan
They
Pryce.
both-
Yeah, Jonathan
yeah.
Pryce. Hey, I fucking nailed that.
they
I said
both
Anthony
look so similar to like the actual popes. And Anthony Hopkins and what's the other dude's name?
Which one do they play?
Jonathan Price.
So one's Pope Francis
Benedict.
and one's Pope Benedict.
Yeah. So it's about the Pope that retired,
Passing the torch there.
which hasn't happened since like the 12th century or something crazy, right? And it's about the transition, and it's about him coming up with the idea, and it's weird because it's such a good movie that kind of makes you think like I want to know who paid to make this movie, because this made, like, as a Catholic person, like, it made me kind of be like, if this is accurate, like, this is really cool.
It's probably the Catholic Church paid
Yeah.
for it. Yeah,
But, like-
I would be willing to bet that some of the funding came from the Vatican.
It's a phenomenally acted movie.
Let's put it this way: anything that paints the Catholic Church in a good light these days, probably coming from a pro-Catholic group.
And that's the thing where it's like Anthony Hopkins is one of the best actors that
Oh, he's
like,
phenomenal.
will ever have lived.
Oh my
you know?
God, yes.
And it's just like part of the role is like he's starting to get a little old and has moments of like senility, and he plays them so well. I really like this movie. It's very pro-Catholic though, so
Yeah, it's
just
okay.
a heads up there.
That's okay.
I'm gonna insert myself because I have something that I watched over the break.
Yeah.
That kind of goes off of this. So, and I've talked about this before, but you guys really need to watch it. It's the Hollywood Reporter Roundtable.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
With all the
yeah.
directors. So it has the director from this, Fernando Morales. It has Todd Phillips, Martin Scorsese, Greta Gerwig, Lulu Wang, and Noah Baumbach.
How do you search for this?
It's on YouTube. It's
But, like,
just I would
Hollywood
say
Reporter
yeah,
Roundtable.
Directors Roundtable.
Yeah, they do roundtables every year with the actors and directors.
Actors, actresses, writers, producers. They do it with like a bunch of different kind of segments
they're
of people.
always
This one
fascinating.
is particularly incredible, though.
I will watch
and
it.
it's so interesting because you have such a balance of you have Martin Scorsese on one hand that's done everything and is like, for the most part, at the end of his career,
Yeah.
and then you have so many new up and comers, especially seeing him interact with Greta Gerwig and Lulu Wang and like. He could, because he's done so many things, I feel like he could very easily be the like, oh, I know everything and stuff, but he's so engaging and like wants to talk about all of this inside baseball stuff. And they talk about like how to, when they're deciding between like getting different movies picked up of like how he picked Netflix and like all of that
That's
versus
so
like an
interesting.
A24 pickup and stuff like that.
It's
Oh,
100%
so,
down my-
so
alley.
interesting.
I got a lot of respect for Greta Gerwig. Man, I haven't watched Little Women yet, but
Dude,
I
it's
watched.
very good.
Man, what did I see her in? She made a movie called Mistress America. I think that's her directing, that I thought was really good. Then she did another one.
Talking about Frances Ha.
Yes, which I really liked also.
Noah Baumbach, I think, directed, and then she like helped
She
produce and
was,
stuff.
yeah. So I heard interview, I think she did with Kim Masters, and she was just like, I wanted to be an actor for a really long time, and she had, I guess, she had applied for every school, like 18 schools, and got denied from all of them, and then went and had taken a writing course or something like that, and just took to it. And her professor was like, I think you want to be a writer. And she's like, no, I want to be an actor. Yeah. Definitely. But everything pointed to the opposite, where she was like, I was constantly writing and constantly developing these story ideas and plays and all this stuff. And then because I wanted to be an actress and I wanted to be on Broadway and do plays and stuff.
Yeah.
So she kept writing. And finally someone's like, you're a writer. You can still be an actor, but like you're gravitating so hard toward this. Maybe you should think a little bit more holistically about your career, and that's what set her on. Basically, now she's a badass.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting too because she got cast as the main like protagonist for the How I Met Your Mother like reboot sequel that was supposed to be called How I Met Your Father, and like she
From
was
her perspective.
Yeah, and it's a whole different. It was just kind of like the sequel series.
Yeah,
and it never got picked up and stuff like that. And I think
it didn't have
those
NPH.
kind of had. Like I think those
was
happened
such a creepy
along the
character.
same times of like no like all of these things aren't working out for you, but you are so incredibly talented in this other thing, and you're just kind of closing yourself off to it.
Frances Ha is a really
Quick
good
question for you: how long is it?
It's like an hour.
God, I have to stop messing around and.
It's
I
one
bet-
of those
you know,
that
I'm
I
willing to
wish
bet it's
was
a-
in podcast form.
Oh, it's not?
It's
Are you
not.
sure?
I mean, I haven't looked.
I bet it
guess.
is because I think they do a lot of stuff and they rip the audio out.
find out.
It behooved them
It
to.
probably would. Be.
Nick, before we go to your next pick,
Sure.
It's time for some ads.
Let's add
So
it.
our first ad is Upstart. Between hitting the gym, eating cleaner, or learning a new skill, there's a lot of ways we can better ourselves in the new year's. But I can't think of one that is more important than starting the new year off tackling high interest credit card debt. My friends at Upstart.com are here to help. Upstart is a revolutionary lending platform that offers smarter rates to help you pay off high interest credit card debt. We've talked about it many times, but when Greg Miller left his life in the Midwest to follow his dreams, he had to move cross countries to one of the most expensive cities in the nation. And, well, he had to take out a high interest credit card loan. And because of that, he was paying it off for years. If only he had used Upstart, he could have gotten a much better rate, because Upstart goes beyond the traditional credit score when assessing your credit worthiness. They actually reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter rate. Upstart believes you are more than just your credit score. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate. Since it's just a soft pull, it won't affect your credit score. The hard pull happens if you accept your rate. The best part, once the loan is approved and accepted, most people get their funds the very next business day. If you plan it correctly, that's the next day. Over 400,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards or meet their financial goals. Free yourself from the burden of high interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. See why Upstart is ranked #1 in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/morning to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes. That's upstart.com/morning. Our next ad is Hims. You've heard us talking about Hims and how they are helping guys look their best. If you haven't yet, it's time to see what they're all about. Nick and Andy have been using Hims for over a year, and they've been very happy to see their hairline staying exactly where they should be. 66% of men start to lose their hair by age 35. Some younger than that. Nick Nack was 25. He started noticing it. Once you've noticed thinning hair, it can be too late. Is the hairline slowly starting to move backwards? Any bald spots yet? The best way to prevent more hair loss is do something about it while you still have some. It's time to grab the new year by the follicles. Here to a year of personal growth. Yeah, I like that. Why do guys turn to weird solutions or do nothing when they can turn to medicine and science? Forhim.com, a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness for men. It's time to write a new chapter, one in which you have hair. Hims was created by a guy who knows some men's health conversations are easier online than in person. No more awkward in-person doctor visits or long pharmacy lines. Hims connects you to real doctors online, which could save you hours. Completely confidential and discreet, unless you're Nick and Andy. And then we talk about it all the time. But they're cool with it. They're keeping their hair, you know? I answer a few questions A doctor will review, and if they determine it's right for you, can prescribe you medication to treat hair loss that is shipped directly to your door. Dive into 2020 hair first. Right now, our listeners can get started with their first month free. Go to forhims.com/morning show. That's forhims.com/morning show. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a physician who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Offer valid only if prescribed. 3 months minimum subscription. Additional restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Remember, that's forhims.com/morning. Our last ad today, Indochino. Nothing makes me feel cooler than wearing a fitted suit. It's like slipping a suit of armor that gives you that extra boost of confidence that makes you feel like you can do it all. With Indochino, it's all about you. You get to choose from hundreds of high-quality suit fabrics to pick the color, pattern, and weight you like best. Then you choose all the personal touches, including your lining, lapel, and monogram. The customizations are all your choice. There's no extra cost. I got to choose my buttons and even the thread color. You heard all this week that I also have a custom message embroidered in my suit. That's right. I open it up, says follow at KindaFunnyKevin. Your suit is made to your exact measurements, so you end up with the perfect fit for the shape of your body. Indochino sells custom shirts, coats, and chinos, so you can get the full custom wardrobe. You get a full custom wardrobe. They have showrooms across the North America where one of their style guides can take your measurements and walk you through the process, which is really simple, and they're very nice, and frankly, it's a lot of fun. We all did it together. I really enjoyed it. Or you can do it all from your home at Indochino.com. Right now, get an extra $30 off any purchase of $3.99 or more at Indochino.com when entering morning at checkout. Plus, shipping is free. That's Indochino.com, promo code morning for $30 off your total purchase of $3.99 or more. High quality custom suits for an off the rack price. And they really are. I really enjoy my Indochino
That was
suit.
a fun day.
Yeah.
When we went down there.
Yeah, it really
It
was.
was lovely.
God, you made everyone uncomfortable.
Did I?
Yeah, remember you kept joking around when they were measuring you.
There's parts. That's what you have to do sometimes.
No, I don't think so. I don't think
know.
so.
I don't know either.
All right, Nick, give me another one of these.
Recent movie I went and saw in theaters, which I highly recommend seeing in theaters before it's gone, is 1917. And
That one's on my list.
Let me tell
too.
you, if you want a nice, relaxing movie to watch, you want to sit back and just maybe even take a little bit of a nap, this is not the movie for you.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, is this tense? It is so. Are you familiar with the way it's shot?
Yeah.
Okay. So
It's made to look like a oneer, right?
basically it's made to look like one long shot.
That's so cool and
it's
very ambitious.
Very ambitious.
Is it a
and
long
Very
movie?
cool. Not too long. I think it's only 2 hours.
Okay.
It's a very simple story. It
Yeah.
really is just about these two soldiers for the British Army in World War I get tasked with having to basically cross a pretty big portion of the active war zone to go tell another troop, because the communication lines are down, that the assault that they're about to commit 1,600 soldiers to is a trap. Ooh. And one of the soldiers is his brother.
Yeah.
And so it's basically
Sorry, one of the soldiers.
one of the
his
soldiers
brother's involved.
brother
in the attack.
is the lieutenant of like the first wave of the attack. So they've got a ticking clock from the second the orders are given by Colin Firth to these two actors.
Colin Firth.
They use every cool British actor that you could think of like for like one scene. It's amazing. Like Colin Firth's in it. The guy that played did you watch Fleabag?
No.
You watch
did,
Fleabag?
yeah.
Remember the priest?
The priest,
in
Ooh,
yeah.
the
Fleabag?
hot priest.
Also in Sherlock, by the
Oh,
way.
so you do know
Hot
him.
priest. Oh yeah.
I don't know anything about Fleabag except for the hot priest.
He's in it for a scene. He's
hot.
great. I forget his name, but that dude is blowing up right now.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. The cast is great. The kid, I believe, played Tomlin on. He was Tomlin on
yeah.
Tommen.
Yeah.
Tommen, not
Yeah.
Lily Tomlin. He was one of the Lannisters who became king, I believe. Right? Is it the character who threw himself out the window? Is that the kid?
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah. Okay. Played that kid. He's grown up now. He's great. The other guy, Also great, good casting. I like when you pick relatively, and I don't mean this as a disparaging remark, but I love when they do movies where it's relatively no-name actors. Specifically, like when you really want to immerse me in this, like don't put Brad Pitt in it. I
Right.
love Brad Pitt, but it's very difficult to not
Pulls
see
you
Brad
out of that
Pitt.
moment, yeah.
This is one shot for all intents and purposes. Again, some digital trickery that at moments kind of does
Yeah.
take you out of it a little bit.
Did it feel good for the most part?
For the most part, yes. I mean, I obviously am coming from a
Who-
background of I know After Effects, so I can see kind of
Yeah.
where the stitching is. Like I've done compositing before, so I'm like, okay, that's not
Who's
a real
the DP
tree.
on this?
Roger Deakins.
Yeah.
And he's going to get an Academy Award again. At least he should. He won for
Does it get Best
Skyfall.
Picture?
I-
Save that for
It
next
is.
week.
We'll save that for next week. But I think it's beautifully done. It really does. It does the same thing. Rather, it succeeds in what Saving Private Ryan succeeded in doing, which is basically to show you firsthand the horrors of war. And obviously, World War I was a terrifying and terrible war for so many different reasons. But this movie does a really good job of getting that across. It's beautifully shot. I mean, even the horrors have this like striking, almost like haunting beauty to them. It's very, very well done, and I was not expecting to like it
I
as much
can't
as
wait
I
to
did.
see it. I can't wait to see it.
World War I was a fucked up war, and it was
All
fucked
of them
up.
have been really bad.
This one was like
You know?
specifically like, man, they didn't have a lot of technology, so like
Sure.
if someone cut a phone line, you were just screwed, very screwed. But highly recommend it, and kudos to Roger Deakins and the crew, and to Sam Mendes, who continues to be one of the best working directors, and then that duo. Sam Mendes, of course, directed Skyfall as well, which is what got Roger Deakins his Academy Award. So. I fully expect them seeing them nominated for at least cinematography, right?
Best
I think.
Picture,
and Best
too.
Picture. Yeah, absolutely. Good kudos to them. Kudos to the Academy for doing it right.
Uncut
once.
Gems is getting robbed, but
I
let's
mean,
keep
the Irishman's still on this list, so obviously someone was doing some drug when they nominated that. But whatever. Doesn't
So
matter.
you were talking about 1917.
Yeah.
Do you recommend? Is that like a must see in theaters?
Do not see it in theaters.
Fuck.
Go see it
How
in theaters
long has
before
it
it's
been
out.
in theaters? Because I'm scared of like.
it's Oscar
still-
nominated.
Let me-
It's going to be there for a while.
But let me
Oh,
put it this
really?
way: I was there. There was 6 people in the theater.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, there's
shit.
not. It's
Well,
not
we gotta
long
get
for
on
this.
top of it. Maybe
Try and
figure
go
out this
see
weekend.
it in
maybe
Dolby
the next
if you
week.
can.
Yeah.
Next week?
All right, yeah.
I'm
or
down.
this weekend I'd be down too.
Barrett, you have to see it in theaters just because
I
the
know,
way
I-
it plays on the big screen with how it's shot is so
fucking
important.
We gotta
the-
keep
the
this moving,
trailer.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. I'm
So
sorry.
Joey, go ahead and give me
Yeah.
the next pick.
I'm gonna merge two of mine together. It's one of those like the two movies that come out at the same time that are kind of roughly the same, like that both TV shows. The first one is Soundtrack on Netflix. It's a full season run Netflix original. It's this like kind of This Is Us style, like if you've watched that on ABC, like family drama essentially, that's told out of sequence with like time jumps and stuff like that. But they have these like weird cuts to like these very like musical theater moments where they're like they have these like crazy dance numbers and they're like lip syncing to these
Sounds
popular
like
songs.
Glee.
It's way better. It's way better than
I'm
Glee.
out.
It's not the teen stuff.
Okay.
But it has like Madeline Stowe,
Oh, I love Madeline Stowe.
right? She plays like the same character that Madeline Stowe always
She plays
plays.
Madeline Stowe. Yeah, God bless her.
So it's like way more serious, and like there's a character from a like old teen TV show called Greek that I used to watch. He plays like the main dad. Super interesting, like family dynamics, a lot of like social stuff. Super interesting. That's the drama one, and then on ABC, NBC, there's Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, which is this girl
I've
that like
heard, yeah.
gets stuck in a MRI tube, and then there's like some power surge, and somehow the guy that's doing it is like listening to all this music, and she like now hears people's like inner music monologues as she's like walking down the street. That one I didn't like very much.
I was
and
like,
don't
this sounds.
really
It
like-
looks terrible.
I've heard a, like I have a best friend that hit me up recently. It was like, you should check it out. It's been a lot of fun.
It has way more like The Good Place, like kind of like comedy-ish vibes. It has a little bit of serious stuff. Peter Gallagher plays her dad, who like
I do love Peter Gallagher. He
Yeah.
was the dad on OC.
I love him.
Is this
Sandy
an-
Cohen
is this
forever.
tied to
No.
the OC?
No,
Okay.
I wish. Oh my gosh. So they're kind of the same. I think soundtrack was really good. There's like one particular episode that's like all centered around a side character. That's like my favorite, one of my favorite episodes of TV. I feel like that I've seen in the last few years. Just the way that they integrate everything in the
Yeah.
storytelling. But if you're into that kind of thing, I think soundtrack is worth giving a shot. Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist only has one episode out right now. So it's like, well, who knows what'll happen with that one? But
I think one of the
I'm
reasons
less interested in that.
why I had a negative reaction to this was obviously A, the trailer was not very good looking, but
Yeah.
B, it reminds me of Nick and Nora's Infinite playlist, and that
Oh.
movie's great.
What if I
So you're
sold
just comparing them?
What if I sold you on soundtrack by telling you that Jenna Dewan, formerly Jenna Dewan Tatum, plays one of the main girls, and she's amazing. I
They
really
couldn't
like
make
her.
it work though. You know, it's heartbreaking.
I
Well,
know, it's real sad.
most Hollywood
But now
couples
she's with some other guy who we like randomly see at WWE things.
Well, that's fun.
Oh.
Good for him.
Kevin, I see your list here. I don't know where you're going, but the one that I'm really interested because I have watched. Alyssa and I watched all of this. Is his Dark Materials?
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
How do you feel about it?
It's-
And also, how like did you get through the entire season?
I
What's
watched
up?
the entire season.
Okay,
I'm all
okay.
done. I'm excited for season 2.
Yeah?
I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. I'm not a book reader. You know, I'm not one of those nerds, so I don't know how it
yeah.
compares to that
Makes you
stuff.
sleepy.
Yeah,
Makes you
and that
sleepy.
was
Every
and that
time.
was one of the rare things where I watched Golden Compass when it came out, but I'd never read the book or anything.
Yeah.
And so like I vaguely remember the movie from
There was a polar bear.
15
Yeah.
years. Yeah, there was a polar
Polar
bear.
bears
And
are a
James
big
Bond
deal.
was in it.
And-
That's
But
all I remember.
I feel like that. I don't know that I ever watched. I'm not sure that I watched that movie.
Yeah.
And it also seemed very forgettable. Is
It was
Daniel
very
Craig in it?
Daniel Craig, Nicole
Daniel
Kidman.
Craig is in
Very
that movie.
forgettable.
Yeah.
It's like a really interesting cast for a very weird movie.
What's-
But like
Well,
the-
it was
the
it's a big book series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
it's called in the outside of the U.S. I would say it's a big book series.
Okay.
So, like it never really, and that's why they changed it to the Golden Compass
Right.
here because the series was called His Dark Materials, but they didn't think that series
A lot
like
of
that
religious
name-
undertones that aren't undertones.
Oh yeah,
His Dark Materials.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really love the cast, and Alyssa and I watched it like because we've got our HBO subscription right now. We're like, oh fuck it, like let's watch this.
Yeah.
We like Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's like the kind of
I thought he was fine. Maybe
he's-
underutilized a little bit. Have him sing a little, you know?
He-
No, I'm kidding.
he's underutilized definitely because I love him and like the vibe that he gives off,
Yeah.
and I think he fits this show really well. But I don't think that character like is shown enough to really show like how fun he is as an actor and as that character specifically. But as the show overall, I did enjoy it. Alyssa was way more into it than I was, but I really enjoyed the cast. Like the girl from Logan, I
She's
forget
so
her-
good.
She's so
Yeah.
good as
Even her like little sidekick buddy. I
Yeah,
enjoy so
yeah, and,
the,
like,
the
you
story
care
of
about
it all
him.
is really good and dark, and also it's like you're just thrown headfirst into this world, and it's like figure
way-
out what the rules are. And,
Yeah.
and like I like that.
the way they tell the story,
Yeah.
you do really care about the characters and the side characters
Right.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And like they have a great cast. Like James McAvoy is her
dad.
uncle.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Sorry, that's-
and so like and he's great. I love James McAvoy and stuff like that. And so like they've got a really good cast. I think if
You liked it then?
Yeah, I did
Okay,
like
good,
it.
'cause I liked it too.
If you're into like sci-fi fantasy kind of stuff, like I do highly recommend checking it out.
I do think that it's not extremely satisfying though, in the sense that
Yes.
like
the way it
I
ends-
need to watch season 2, not
Yeah.
as much as like I'm
You want
excited
to,
to.
yeah.
And like I did look up of like how did the book end? The first book ended very much like the first season
Mm-hmm.
ended. So it is very much of like when the first season ends, it's not very satisfying, but it does leave you wanting more.
yeah.
And so I'm
Feel like
very
you need more.
Yeah, and so I'm very excited to see what they
Yeah.
do
with it.
yeah, exactly.
Also, like
exactly.
I can't imagine this in a movie format. Like
I
I'm so
know.
happy that we get I want to say it was 8 episodes, it might have been 10, to
Yeah.
actually.
breathe with these
Yeah.
characters a little bit. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And I barely remember the movie, so it's just like it was kind of weird and forgettable, whatever. So it was cool to like relive the story in the series. So I'm excited to what they do in the future. Definitely.
Me too.
I want to give a shout out to the actress who plays. I think she's the antagonist in this. Who?
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Can you look
She's
up
from
her?
Mission Impossible,
Yeah,
right?
I'll
She
I'll do the
was-
IMDb.
Or she was
for it.
in one of the Mission Impossible.
I cannot. The only
I might
other
be
thing
mixing
I
up
remember
faces.
seeing her in,
Yeah.
which she is absolutely phenomenal in, is Luther. She's in like the very first episode of Luther, and then plays this
yeah.
recurring character, and it is awesome.
She's
She's
great.
great.
She's great.
If you haven't watched Luther, I think the show's done. Idris Elba
It's
came
on
back and
Netflix, I think.
or maybe
still.
Idris Elba's doing another season of it. It's a really
Oh,
good
Luther's
show.
on Netflix. This
Luther.
is on HBO Go.
Ruth Wilson is her name. Can you click on her IMDb real quick? I want to see what else she was in. She was in another movie recently that I watched, and that was or another show. She was in The Affair. Oh, she was so good in that.
Yeah,
Scroll back
Oh,
up.
that's totally wrong.
scroll back up.
Scroll back up. No, okay, yeah, she was in The Affair.
Oh, Saving Mr. Banks. A
Was
movie I
she
watched
in Saving
recently.
Mr. Banks?
Yeah, scroll up. Yeah, Saving Mr.
Oh,
Banks
yeah,
is one
yeah.
of those.
Yeah,
She's awesome. She's
Yeah,
awesome.
she was
Very,
really
very
good as that character. She was really fun.
Joe, you want to throw another one at me?
Alice.
I do. Three Identical Strangers. Not new by
Oh,
any means.
that's the one about the triplets that were
Yeah.
Split up
separated at birth.
scientifically.
Super
This
interesting.
is the kind of shit that I feel like Kevin would do if he had a lot of power and like more, like a ton
I
of
mean,
money.
is it so wrong? Is
No,
it so
it's a
wrong?
fascinating
Super
thing.
You know what I
fucked
mean?
up.
It's
So
hard.
fucked
It's
up.
hard to get triplets adopted.
It's true.
Easier to get one kid adopted.
But that's
And
not why.
if you
That's
keep
not the
up-
reasoning behind them doing it, though.
Oh, I know. I mean,
But you're just using it as a selling point.
I'm just saying science has questions that, sometimes the answers.
Sometimes the law won't let you answer.
Well, that's beside the point.
It's just-
But the
Yeah.
answer needs to be found.
it's true.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Super interesting. I was watching it when I was in Colorado with my best friend Michelle, who's a psychologist. So like seeing her perspective on like how they're running this trial and like kind of all of the things that they didn't do the way that you're supposed to. She was like real heated about it. But it's just super interesting to see like how they specifically placed all these people in like very specific socioeconomic kind of families, and then like the fact that like there could be like not infinite, but like a number of people who have no idea that they have a twin because of the way
23andMe is getting rid of that.
I would-
right? I know exactly.
I would kill my twin.
Am I the villain,
Yeah.
guys?
Am I the bad
Welcome,
one?
welcome. It's fun. It's a cool club. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's you, me, and Greg.
Let's try to go just a tiny bit faster.
Sure.
That's all I got for
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a couple more that things I just want to recommend on HBO, or actually on Netflix. We'll go with this one, Sex Education. I love
Oh
this show.
yeah, it's fun.
I love this show. Season 1 was great. Season 2 is great. It's I forget the name of the kid. I think it's Asa Butterfield is his name. Butter something. He's a weird name. He's great. His the best friend character, and please look this up. Just look up Sex Education because I want to see the actor's name as well. He's awesome.
I read ass butt when he wrote that,
That's what I thought too.
and I was like, huh.
He was Ender in
he's
Ender's
Ender.
Game. He's in. Can you click on Sex Education? Because I want to give a shout out to. Oh, he's also Hugo. That's right. I want to give a shout out to the best friend's character because this guy might be the best actor on TV, and I fucking love him. His name is. I can't pronounce his name.
Nakudi
Gatwa?
Gatwa?
Nakudi
Yeah.
Gatwa. He's
Gatwa.
fucking awesome. He's awesome. He plays his best friend in this. It's great. Gillian Anderson also plays the mom. Does a passable British accent. Good for her. If you're not familiar with the show, his mom is a sex therapist, and she has zero boundaries for a therapist, which is hilarious. He has a lot of problems because of this, because of their divorce, but because he's had such a great education, having lived with his mom for his entire life, he starts a sex therapy, business at his school, helping kids with their problems. And season 2 picks up.
That's
where-
a fun premise.
It's a great premise. Season 2, of course, because he's got some fucked up issues too, but everyone has fucked up issues. Season 2 picks up where the mom somehow inadvertently becomes the guidance counselor at the school too.
Oh, no.
So they're now competing against each other, and she does not know it yet.
That's
It
really
is
good.
great.
I give this one a
really
shot.
interesting.
It's really fun.
I liked season 1.
It's shot so I will. The reason why I like it, and it's a weird choice, but it totally works, is that it's shot like it's done in the 80s, but it is a modern day. They have
I
cell
love it.
phones, technology, everything.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Beautifully shot.
And so you're all done with your list, or
Let me see. I don't have like any. I went in order of like the stuff that I really wanted to talk about.
Got it.
We've already talked about Uncut Gems and Marriage Story, I feel like.
Sure, yeah.
Is Marriage Story worth watching? I gotta
Yes.
watch it. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's god awful in the best way. You know what I mean?
The Gentleman. The Good Place
Gentleman's
right
so
now is
good.
really fun, and how they've like kind of changed characters.
to
and
Dude,
how they've
there's
updated
only
it.
2 more episodes.
know. It's real fun.
Technically, only 1 more episode. I need to catch up on the
Yeah.
penultimate episode. But
So-
oh my god,
It's moving in like a very interesting, fun direction as The Good Place does. Just seeing
That's the
how all
Kristen
of these,
Bell one?
Yeah.
all these characters have now been plopped in kind of a new situation that they
Are
haven't
they in
done
hell?
before.
You need to watch.
you need to watch
just
this
the
show.
first couple
No,
episodes.
dude.
First season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first season.
I'm gonna go with The King. It's a Netflix movie with.
Timothée Chalamet.
I love this goddamn movie.
Yeah?
Robert Pattinson is such a goddamn good actor.
See, this is the turn.
I watched. I don't want to focus too much time, but I watched the Good Times.
Oh
the
yeah,
movie that everyone was
How'd you,
recommending.
it's on like
yeah.
Amazon Prime or something. I want
Yeah.
to check it out.
It's messed up. It's a good movie.
Okay.
It's God, it's messed up. It's a horrible,
Yeah.
horrible situation.
That, like Brian, I remember Brian and Max really talking about this a lot when I was working at IGN,
Yeah.
and they pitched it as like Grand Theft Auto the movie.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
bad. That's
Yeah.
not bad.
Okay.
But going back to The King, man, I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. Where it's the story of Henry V,
Sure.
and it's real good. It's real good. I just a historical piece that like keeps you compelled the entire time. Robert Pattinson, like the actors are all phenomenal. Timothy Chalamet or whatever, Timothée Chalamet. He's
Timothy.
Yeah,
I think
it's
weird haircut.
It's a
Timothy.
weird.
Cares?
It's a weird pronunciation.
It's Timothy.
He's so good. This movie's so good. Everyone should give it a shot. It's on Netflix.
Hey,
What do
Reed,
you
it's
got,
me,
Greg?
Greg Miller. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. I just have breaking news that it's been... what episode is this of Screencast?
54.
54. And this is the first time anyone said release the Snyder Cut on it. And it's kind of insulting
We're
to
editing
me.
that out, so
And the
say it as many
number
times as you
one
want.
Yeah, I'm taking
DC
time codes for
EU
that
movie and
for-
review, Batman v
I don't remember
Superman.
anyone saying that prior to you.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if
He's drunk,
anybody
is
really.
I want the opposite, man. I want a Joss Whedon cut of Batman v Superman. That's what I want. That's what I fucking want, man. Release the Whedon cut.
Anyways, yeah, The King is awesome. Did not expect it to be any like as good as it is. I feel like the trailer doesn't do it justice, so go check this one out. One last movie I want to throw out there: The Art of Self-Defense.
Oh, you watched
That's
it.
on
I'm
Hulu
so
now.
glad you
I
watched
just
this
added
movie.
it to my watch
Oh
list.
man, I loved it. It's a weird fucking movie. It's
Kinda allegorical.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is very much it's surreal. You nailed it. You were talking about how you're like, this is it. The movie kind of starts grounded, and then just goes off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a hard style to do because sometimes that can just come the way they talk to each other, the way it works.
You're like, this is not how people interact.
but it works.
It
Right?
works so well.
And it works so well. And it works so well because it's almost like there's sort of a blunt straightforwardness to it that is in weird contrast to the surrealness of the world they're living in
Yeah.
that just totally fucking works.
It works. It's funny because at first you're like, oh, he's off. Like must be on the spectrum or
Right.
something.
That's what you think.
Yeah, and then you start to realize, no, everyone is like this.
You meet
This
all
is
the
a
rest of the
weird-
characters
yeah.
and they're all a little fucking weird.
But man, I enjoyed the hell out of that movie too.
Do you think it would have made your top 10 had you watched it last year?
It would have made mine.
It's. I
Actually,
don't think
it
I don't.
did make mine. What am I talking about? I was on that episode. Go
I
watch
don't know.
that episode.
It's
You
like,
like
it would be-
accidentally listed twice.
I did. I
would
liked
be-
it so much.
That's right.
did.
It would be in the upper. If it would have made it, it would have been the
Honorable mention.
honorable mention or potentially 9 or 10 slot.
Oh, okay.
Potentially.
I love it actually.
very good.
You know, obviously, as someone who has done martial arts for the better part of his life
Karate.
here and there, little karate, little kung fu, little kempo. Now, recently, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I love that it's sort of a deconstruction about of violence and the power that it gives, or the perceived power that it gives, and what that it's like. It's such a
It's
deep
so
movie
weird, yeah.
for how simple it is.
Yeah.
Because all it is about a kid who gets beat up and then decides that he wants to learn
Take
how to defend
self-defense
himself.
classes, yeah.
But it becomes this weird meta commentary on like what the idea of martial arts and what the idea of this thing means to people, and is it giving you power? Is it a false thing? Is it an abusive thing? Like
Very cerebral.
it's fucking nuts.
It's
It's about
awesome.
violence. It's about masculinity. It's about
Yeah.
like all sorts of things that you would not expect for a movie.
It's about power.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
about the power. Power and the power dynamic and how that. Yeah, it's just
It's
really
it's
cool.
really rad.
And it's got Emoji Poots in it.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Love her.
She's great.
I forget what movie I saw her in the first time.
Who was the
Fucking loved it.
karate teacher?
I don't know that guy's
Oh
Okay.
shit!
I like
He's
him
in
a lot.
everything
Great.
too.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah.
He's been in a ton of stuff.
I'll
right.
look it up for you.
Nick, now you want to give me one more?
I'll give you one more. I'll give you two more actually. One, just a quick. Everyone should watch this if you haven't. Hot Rod is on Netflix. I just want to give a shout out to that movie. I thought I was gonna. I watched it the first time. I think I saw it in theaters, and I was like, this movie's great. And of course, me being me, obviously, I haven't seen the movie in years, so I'm like, I'm sure this movie doesn't hold up. That's Imogen Poots. I love her.
Go back.
What's the guy's name? Steve Tirada. No, that's him. Yeah,
Yeah.
Alessandro Nivola is the
Oh.
guy's name. He's awesome.
I feel like he looks very different in the IMDb picture.
He's got that weird hair
Why does it also show just a picture of Nicolas Cage?
because he's probably in a lot of Nicolas Cage, but maybe
He
he's
was
stunt
in
doubles
Face
Nicolas
Off
Cage.
for some reason.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I bet it looks like because those are a lot of really big movies that I like don't recognize him, but he does look a lot like Nicolas
That's
Cage.
weird. That's weird.
And It makes sense if he's also a stunt double.
I don't know if he's a stunt double or not. I just
could
made
be.
that up. Anyway, if you haven't seen Hot Rod, it's Andy Samberg's like first film, I think.
Yeah.
He did the Lonely Island Boys. I think it was that whole crew.
Yeah.
Jorma Tacona and
Who's the guy from Righteous Gems?
fucking Danny McBride's like
Yeah,
the
he
first
is-
time I remember
oh
seeing
my
him.
God.
I love Danny
He's
McBride
great.
so much.
He's so
Bill
funny.
Hader's in it. He's
Yeah.
fucking great. Isla Fisher's in
SNL
it.
kind of.
Will Arnett's in it.
Yeah.
It is a very weird movie. It's done purposely in the style of like an 80s kind of almost parody, but not.
Almost like Napoleon Dynamite-ish.
But almost like if you
post
saw
that.
Napoleon Dynamite and you wanted to make a movie that was making fun of Napoleon Dynamite, but also
Shit,
paying
that movie
homage to
sucks.
Napoleon Dynamite. It's very
You
weird.
hate Napoleon
I
Dynamite?
hate Napoleon
I
Dynamite.
love
What?
Napoleon
I do
Dynamite.
too.
I do not understand the humor.
I went back
I
and
had a
watched.
Napoleon
good.
Dynamite themed birthday party for
Yeah, I know, and
16th
it
birthday.
you also your
Give
favorite
yourself
color
a
is
dang
sprinkles.
quesadilla.
It's sparkles.
Okay,
glitter.
that's
Give
God.
yourself a game.
It's the tone that you say it with. It just upsets me so much.
That's what I'm here for.
Anyway, long story short, went back and watched it to see if it holds up. I loved it even more than the first time I watched it.
Hell
This
yeah.
movie just jumped a lot on my list. Love that very much. And the other movie that I wanted to talk about that is on HBO right now that's probably no one's thought about in years because I had never seen it was the Darjeeling Limited, which is a
I love this
Anderson?
a
movie.
Wes Anderson movie that I never saw. It was the only Wes Anderson movie that I hadn't seen. And I don't know when he made it, but it was just one of those that like I looked at it, it didn't speak to me. I'm not a traveler by nature.
Does it have
but
Jeff Goldblum in it?
No, it's got Jason Schwartzman, Owen Wilson, and Adrian Brody, and it's about three brothers who go. One of the brothers invites his other two brothers on a trip on the Darjeeling Limited through India. To basically go on a spiritual journey and also reconnect with their mother, who has basically abandoned them their entire life, and after their father just died.
I've seen
It's
this one.
Wes Anderson, classic Wes Anderson.
I hope someday we do an interview in that series.
He's great.
Oh, yeah,
I can't
that'd
believe
be
I
Not
didn't
series,
see.
but like his movies because
Yeah.
they're so.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't see this movie. I don't know what put me off from it, other than like I just it felt like a travel movie to me, and I'm like, I don't want to watch that. But now my wife has been to India; she loves it so much. I watched this movie, and the first thought I had was like, I want to go to India. It's so beautiful. It makes that country look amazing, and like I really think it pays a lot of respect to it. And just the fact that they take this amazing train trip where they're constantly smoking cigarettes, I'm like, I'm in. Let's go. They're just drinking, smoking cigarettes out the window, and they're just like partying. It's cool. I mean, it's a lot more deeper than that, but I liked it a lot. Watch it.
Joseph, do you want to throw out one more?
No, that's it. That's
Okay,
all I
cool.
got.
All right. I also last movie I'll talk about is I watched The Nightingale.
Oh, is this the
Nightingale.
Nicole Kidman? No.
No.
Which one's
Bear,
this
can you
one?
pull it up? I don't know.
Oh,
what
yeah,
it
Is
I'm
is.
the
looking-
stealing
They
the
all look
art from the
same.
museum
No.
one? Oh,
This
okay.
is
That's
the Goldfinch.
This
That's Ocean's 12, Joey.
No, that's the
Goldfinch. Yeah.
No, Joe, you're thinking about Ocean's 11.
Nightingale
that's
is
the
about
Goldfinch.
Australia.
Ocean's 13. Any takers? Any takers? Ocean's 13. Okay.
Great movie. Great movie.
Oh shit! This looks horrifying.
It is. It's not a
Nope.
horror movie. It's a suspense movie,
Nope.
and it's.
Oh,
it's,
Sam Claflin though.
Ah.
Click on Sam Coughlin. Who is he? What is he?
He's in the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Bay
he's
Collie.
awesome.
Jesus, he's good looking.
He's,
Yeah, he's a good-looking man.
incredibly attractive.
He
What
is
the fuck.
a great actor, and you hate him so much.
Why can't he be more like Henry Cavill?
He's really good at it.
Honestly, he would be a good young Superman. I'm just
He
saying.
would.
Very,
Yeah.
very quickly, like the story is, it's in Australia. I think it's the British are kind of in control of everything. They've moved the indigenous, the Aborigine people out, and they have like Irish people that are like basically they're prisoners that are working for them. So they kind of do whatever they want. The handsome boy over there is I couldn't remember his name, and that's all I got.
Sam Claflin.
Yeah, sure, Sam, cutie
Claflin.
pie, Sam.
There he is.
Um,
Just call him Hottie McHotterton.
he's the guy that's running the fort that they're living at. The main girl is essentially his like kind of like servant that does everything that needs. Things get really, really messed up. Murders happen. He leaves to go to try to convince someone to make them manage this whole bigger area, and she's following him, and it's a very, very dangerous path. She gets someone to be her guide, and it's all about their relationship developing as
I like these
they
movies.
both hate the British, but also have hostility towards each other. And it is a phenomenal
on?
movie. It's The Nightingale.
On Netflix?
It's on Hulu, I believe.
Hulu, okay.
Yeah, that was actually recommended by best friend Prince.
Interesting.
And
Shout out to Prince.
yeah, that's it,
Fucking
nailed it.
Okay.
I truly,
sorry.
truly enjoyed the movie.
I love Prince.
It
I'm
is
joking.
also another one of these movies that are horribly messed up and powerful. Let's quickly tell you what is out on streaming platforms Fighting with Your Family on Amazon Prime. Not much elsewhere. Next month seems like a lot's coming. We'll tell you more about that
really
next
quick,
week.
Big Kev Dog. A very important update on what's now streaming on streaming services. Frankie Muniz tweeted out yesterday. Big Fat Liar is on Netflix now. Amanda Bynes and I just want to say you're welcome. Have
God.
you ever seen Big Fat Liar, Kevin?
It's a terrible movie. Yeah.
No, it's a great. Nick, have
No,
you
it's
ever?
not a great movie.
Have
not
you,
No, I don't know that. Can
Who's
you pull
the
up the
main
poster?
Paul
antagonist?
Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti.
I'm just gonna tell you the film tells a story about a 14-year-old pathological liar, Jason Shepard, played by Frankie Muniz, whose creative writing assignment is stolen by an arrogant Hollywood producer, Marty Wolf, Paul Giamatti.
Oh, that sounds great.
Who later plans to use it to make the fictional film of the same name. This movie is like, if you want to understand the mind of like Barrett Courtney growing up in the early to mid 2000s, this is the movie to watch because
Done.
Holy fuck, I loved this movie as a kid. Am I planning
Done.
to watch it
So
this week at one point for the first time in 16 years? Yes. Am I going to be disappointed? Maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Might
But-
hot rod it. Might love it more.
Exactly.
There it is.
Exactly. And that's what I'm excited for, Nicky boy.
I don't want
Alright,
to say that Nick's never going to make it through because that'll make him double down and watch it. But
You know I love Grease too.
Out in movie theaters near you, we have the Rhythm section, a movie we were supposed to watch this week, but it's been too hectic. And Gretel and Hansel. God.
Hansel.
Hansel. Does
Hansel.
anyone want to read your topics? Because
I do.
Okay. Before I jump into that, last week I asked you on the bronze tier level, on the bronze tier, to tell me your most anticipated TV shows of 2020. For next week, let me know how you guys like this format where we're focusing on one individual topic instead of doing what we would normally be doing, because I've been really enjoying it, and I want to see what your thoughts are. So go to the bronze tier level there.
Love
Joey?
Envy has the most anticipated 2020 show is all the Marvel Disney Plus shows, which they're cautiously optimistic about. Cautious because they didn't love The Mandalorian, but I know Marvel has proven to have a better track record than Star Wars in recent years. Saying that, though, we already know and love these characters. So there's less setup, and we're going to get 6 to 8-ish, roughly, hours of content. So I'm hyped. I agree. Sean I is recommending Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. This is one that I will probably watch another episode of to see if I like it more, but
Keep us updated.
I will let you know. Surf 31 is really excited about WandaVision because it sounds like it's going to be absolutely bonkers, and I'm so excited to see what that means. It's growing on me. At first, I was like, I don't know what this is, but now it's growing on me, so I agree with you. Sam Mosher, most anticipated show of 2020 is my favorite show, BoJack Horseman.
So good.
Nick.
Its final 8
So
episodes
good.
premiere Friday, January 31st, probably when
Yeah,
you're
when it's
recording
ending.
or when you're watching that.
Yeah,
right now.
when we're streaming the
I'm
12-hour
so
thing.
sad to see it go, but I'm happy it's ending before the show's quality dipped.
Wait, go back to that. So all the episodes are dropping on 31st?
Yeah, so it's the second half
second
of
half.
season 6.
Great.
Are we going to go in the back room at one point during
Yes,
the 12-hour
we
stream and
are.
like cuddle up
You guys are
together?
gonna
and-
cry. It's gonna be sad.
That
Dude,
show's
it's-
so fucking
it's
poignantly
way
good.
more powerful than it should be.
I know where you left off at, and like I'm so excited to go on that journey with each other. 'cause
Absolutely.
that's-
Yeah. We'll
P.S.
get Taco Bell.
heartbreaking. Yeah.
P.S. Keep an eye out for Devs. It's a sci-fi show directed and written by Alex Garland, who made Ex Machina and Annihilation.
Oh.
Premieres on Hulu in March.
Cool.
Jesus Barrio says, since I don't really watch a lot of TV shows, my most anticipated show for 2020 is definitely season 2 of High School Musical, the musical, the series. Heck yes.
Joey,
I'm in.
Joey,
Yeah.
I'm on that board with you guys
It's
now.
so good.
And yet-
With you,
It's so
Belinda, and
good.
Blessing, it's so good.
And yet I pose the question again. Is Disney Plus an utter failure?
No, High School
I mean,
Musical.
financially,
Dude,
no.
I never watched the original High School Musical movies, and this show is fucking good.
Barrett, you're drunk.
Follow-up
I'm
question.
drunk.
Tweet at me, and if you just threw
Toilet
something
pants.
at your screen.
No, what is it? Toilet something?
And make sure to
Toilet
tweet
toes.
at Tim the Toilet Toads. Hashtag Kansas sucks.
One more from Mitch Krasen. I have to say, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is number 1 for me. BoJack Horseman is number 2, and that comes this week. And you guys have got me interested in Lock and Key is number 3.
Forgot about Lock and Key.
Woo! Let's go.
Oh man, that's awesome. Alrighty, thank you for joining us this week on Screencast. You can follow Nick at Nick_Scarpino. You can follow Joey at Joey Noel.
Did I go away for a while?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You can follow me at Kinda Funny Kevin. Thank you so much. Go to the movies, check out The Gentleman, because it is awesome.
It's so good.
That's it. That's the show.